yes, indeed. Hello, good evening, welcome. How are you all? I hope you're all there. The gang is all here tonight. Over my right shoulder, over there. You can see him in the slightly fuzzy and, we have Matt Gurish. Say good evening, Matt. Why don't you?
Good evening, Matt.
Why don't you? There you are, you see. There's Matt. Look, there he is, full screen. Look at that.
Oh, don't do that, Tom.
No, I did it. But alongside Matt will be the ever lovely Yorkshireman, the man himself, the only fella, in fact, that we know that comes from Yorkshire and is a proper Yorkshireman. That would be Marco van Basten. He's there. Hello, Marco.
It is I, yeah, from that there Yorkshire city. Now then, happen.
All right, happen city. How are you doing, lad?
I'm not bad. Yeah, not bad. Living and breathing, walking around. You
doing all right now?
Aye, that's my cat meowing to come in the window. It's not happening.
No, I'm not even going to ask. But I shall start the show the way we discussed, shall I?
Yes.
Yes, I shall do that then. I don't know whether everybody knows. I hope that I'm not bringing bad news for everybody. But we've heard that over the weekend, Jill Baldwin, Jill CB, as you'll have known her on Twitter, who was posting and tweeting and what have you on Friday, died sometime between Friday night and Saturday morning. She's a sad loss to VTTV, sad loss to me. Every show that we've been to since they started doing shows, Jill has turned up with her souped up wheelchair, in company, usually with good friends, and yes, we've just always got on. I mean, I can't say that I know somebody next door, but it hit me quite hard when I heard. Same with you as well, Marco, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I saw Kate's post, and obviously Kate sometimes accompanied Jill on her little journeys, and she always made a point, especially at like Vape Fest and at the events, coming and saying hello, showing off the new colour hair, whether it was blue or pink or purple or different shades. Always there with a laugh and a smile, always wanting a picture. I couldn't believe it yesterday. I was really shocked and saddened by it. And it kind of brings it all home when you know somebody, even in passing. I mean, I wouldn't say that I knew Jill as a person in kind of in entirety, but I'd always see her at the event and always talk to her, and it was, she was a really nice lady, and I'm very sad about it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's watched VTTV from the start. She's been with VTTV from the start. Always in chat, always watching stuff, always very constructive, very helpful, and very, very pleasant to be around.
I'd say these shows will be lacking something without seeing her speeding up on that little scooter of hers.
Yes.
Grinning.
Grinning and yelling. Grinning and yelling. Just arm waving in the air, waving a great big mod, the latest mod that she's just got. Dave, Matt, Marco, Dave, woo! And there she was, hair all different colours. It's just so saddening. So, yes, you will be missed, Jill. You will be missed. Of that, I think I can guarantee. I'm just saying that Vic RGZ, whose first date is on Periscope, has just joined us, which is kind of opposite. Welcome along. Nice to see you. Nice for you to be here. With that sad news, I never quite know how to handle this kind of stuff. I really don't. I'm not very good at it. Shall we move into being rotten about Wales? Shall we do that?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's have a little go at Wales. Now,
I don't know whether everybody's aware. They probably are by now, because Ridian the man, Ridian has been tweeting about it, hasn't he? Isn't it? Wasn't it? Didn't I? Bronwyn, Megan. All over the place. Wales has been a set of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, aye, dickheads, right? And you might wonder why. And Marco's been banging the drum about it. I've been banging the drum about it. And we've got some video, and I'm quite prepared actually to take the risk of getting a copyright strike on YouTube, because I think everybody deserves to see this. This is from the BBC, the BBC and I assume it was BBC Wales, decided to do a bit about what's happening with Public Health Wales, which patently isn't Public Health England. Well, watch it and you'll see. Here we go.
Starting the advice young, not to smoke. It's hoped these 12 and 13-year-olds from Hawthorne High School in Rhondda will then be peer advocates and spread the message about the health dangers of smoking. But Public Health Wales, who were running these sessions, are now toughening up their message about e-cigarettes too. The concern is they're currently seen as safe, could re-normalise smoking, or could even be a gateway for young people and children to start smoking tobacco. So how are they perceived?
Younger kids want to buy them because they're more attractive, like they're brighter.
When I walk past in my local town, I see them make cool shapes and they're all different kinds of colours and there's cool designs. So I think they're kind of aimed for young people.
Public Health Wales say the nicotine in e-cigarettes is damaging to the adolescent brain, so a no-go for children and young people. But for those struggling to give up traditional cigarettes, a 100% switch to vaping would be less harmful.
We wouldn't want to see advertising of electronic cigarettes where children frequent. We wouldn't want to see the production of confectionery-like flavours. You can buy bubblegum, candy floss, jam donut flavoured e-liquids at the minute. They're only aimed at one audience, and that's about recruiting children and people, and we want to see the banning of those.
Celtic Vapers in Llansamlet have spent around £150,000 having 30 flavours tested for things like emissions and toxicology to conform to the latest legislation. They argue that e-cigarettes can have a huge role to play in helping people quit smoking, but the rules are currently so strict they're unable to market their products at all.
I'd like to be able to market it as the product it is. We're an alternative to smoking. That's how we should be able to market ourselves. We're not nicotine replacement therapy, we're not smoking. We're an alternative to both of those things. We should be able to market ourselves as that. So a new demographic, essentially, of product classification.
The market for e-cigarettes, like the devices themselves, has evolved since they emerged in 2004, and research into the health benefits and harms continues.
Yes, they emerged in 2004. Did you know that, Matt?
I'll take it as given. I don't know exact date they emerged. I'm sure you do.
2007 in the UK.
Okay.
Certainly wasn't 2004 in Wales. But there we had it. There we had Gateway. We had nicotine. Is in e-cigs, it's bad. It's very bad. It's very, very bad. Nicotine in e-cigs, very, very, very bad. Think of the children, and those two kids are going to go on to be head boy and head girl of whichever school they go to, and I am absolutely certain will be sitting in the Welsh Assembly for Welsh Labour and the Prohibitionist Party. They've been so well brainwashed, those kids. It's utterly ridiculous. It really is. And it got me to wondering, and I sure it got Marco's muted. Stop being muted, Marco.
I'm not muted.
You were.
I'm not now.
I know you're not now because I can hear you. There you
I
go.
was muted when I was inhaling, so I didn't change, so Matt was stayed on the screen. Unless you white boxed him.
I'm white boxing now.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, you brought this to my attention. You were quite up on this, weren't you? You're not a happy bunny about it, are you?
No, and it really grinds my gears, the whole thing. And what kind of took me about that piece of ET was those didn't sound like the words of a child.
No, they didn't.
They sounded like they'd been primed to hell about what to say, or they'd been influenced into what to say. They have no Scooby-Doo. Now, the whole thing about flavours, bubblegum, candy floss, whatever flavours, we're being told time and time again, these flavours only exist to entice children. Well, we know that is, to coin a phrase, utter bollocks. Absolute bollocks.
I have in my hand at this moment in time, and I shall put it very close to the camera, it's called Jam Nation. It is a jam donut, and it is one of my very favourite treat flavours. And it's one of those that you can quite happily just vape for a treat, you know? Like you would have a bottle of champagne or something. It tastes exactly like a Greg's donut. And it doesn't appeal to kids. Well, it might appeal to kids, but all of the research that we're seeing saying it doesn't appeal to kids. They want tobacco flavours.
Yeah, I mean, go figure that one. You know, most people who I know that vape don't vape on tobacco flavors. I've never liked tobacco flavors. I've stayed away from those, and it is 5 years next month that I've been vaping. Probably the first couple of weeks I had some tobacco flavor that came with the kit that I bought from Liberty Flights. But I mean, you know, just random Rice Krispie treats, vanilla waffle. What's that one? Baked cream cake. Or is that no fried cream cake? I've got coffee and donut. I've got chocolate. I've got banana. I don't use tobacco flavors. I like the fruity and dessert flavors, nuts, chocolate, all that kind of stuff. And I think you can probably tell that I'm not a child. Maybe mentally, but not physically.
And I presume you're not trying to entice children either. So
No, and I also don't go underground and dig coal. So,
Do you
you
not?
know,
I,
the jury is definitely going against us from a certain point of view. And the whole Wales thing, it's just grinds my gears. In fact, it does more than that. It really pisses me off, and it boils my piss, is what it does.
does that come out in vapour or smoke?
It's coming out in vapor. I'm telling you.
Have you? I mean, I take it you've seen the Welsh position statement, Public Health Wales position statement.
I have. In fact, I think you should show it, Dave.
That was why I said that. You know, let's have a read. It says Public Health Wales is committed in the longer term, and
Bloody
so
should
it
be.
bloody should be, to a smoke-free and, get this, a nicotine-free Wales. Nicotine-free Wales. Why? There's nothing wrong with nicotine. Seriously, if you're going to do that, you've got to take caffeine in as well, and they're not going to do that. ENDS, right, electronic nicotine delivery system, and they're using the World Health Organization nomenclature here, present both potential benefits and potential harms, so a balance of approaches is needed to help minimise the risks to children and young people and non-smokers in the general population, and to maximise the potential benefits to committed smokers who are unwilling or unable to quit, as well as those who wish to quit smoking. Can I just pause there and say what I'm thinking?
go on.
It's
Yeah, go for it.
It's none of their fucking business. It really isn't. Nicotine is no more dangerous than caffeine. Ask Peter Hayek, ask Professor John Bitton, ask Linda Bald, ask Public Health England, ask the Royal College of Physicians, ask the Royal College of General Practitioners, and they'll all tell you the same. It's the other side of the coin from caffeine. There's no real difference. It's a mild stimulant. And if anybody wants to use said mild stimulant, it's no issue for anybody else to get involved with. Nobody points the finger at anybody that drinks a coffee. Why should they point the finger at anybody that uses nicotine safely? Why? Just why? Somebody answer me that. Why?
I'll tell you one thing. I think they've been sitting on the comfy chairs in the Senate for a bit too long, because if they went into one of the Welsh valleys and said, stop using nicotine, stop smoking, they'd be told to fuck off. I mean, really, it's not going to happen.
And rightly so. And rightly so. But that, I mean, that's the point they're coming at it from, is neo-prohibitionism. They see a smoke-free and a nicotine-free Wales. Fine. I know the guys at JCB. We can dig a bloody great big ditch and let it float off. I don't care, right? But it's ridiculous. It's a stupid thing to aim for. It's like having we want a caffeine-free Isle of Man. We want a motorcycle-free Isle of Wight. It's not going to happen. I got those two the wrong way around.
Aye, well, I got the point.
Strike those, reverse them, right? It's
Said
not.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah, quite. It's just not going to happen. Let's go further. For children and young people, I mean, talk about playing the children card early. This straight in. The use of nicotine by children and young people is unsafe. It can cause addiction and can harm the developing adolescent brain. There are no benefits to children and young people in using ENDS. There is concern that ENDS are seen as safe, but this is not the case. While the health risks of ENDS are significantly lower than cigarettes, they are not without risk. While the health risks of caffeine are significantly lower than heroin, caffeine is not without risk. Indeed, within the last 2 weeks, there's been a death reported in a bloody university, right? A university where a young chap died because he was given 30 grams of caffeine instead of 30 milligrams. And guess what? Caffeine doesn't make you vomit. So he died. So, who's died of nicotine? Nobody that we're aware of. So now they're saying health ends should feature alongside other health-harming substances, e.g. tobacco and alcohol, in all health education for children and young people, and be presented as... I'm just losing the will to live here. Have you got it there to read it, Marco? Because seriously, I'm going to start using language.
Was that the back of the fag packet, was it?
Yeah, it's completed. I've got it here. Children, gateway, nicotine, don't know.
House! I didn't realise you were playing bullshit bingo. I'm sorry about that. Bloody hell.
It's quite an easy game to play.
No, see, none of us in this particular show, and I would think the people in chat and on Periscope and on Facebook and watching this on Catch Up, none of us probably think that giving an e-cig to a child is a particularly good idea if they don't already smoke, right? There's, you've got to be on the fence about some things, but this is all about the perception that using an e-cig is going to make a kid then go and spend £8 a pack on fags.
When was the last time you bought fags?
Let's see. Actual proper fags, probably 7 years ago.
Because if you
the last time I used lit tobacco was 5 years ago in 18 days.
Well, if you think you're going to get fags for £8 a pack now, you've got to be buying them at the pub, because you ain't getting them at a shop for that.
No, about a tenner now.
It's closer to a tenner.
There you are. That's how much you're looking at for 20 tabs. So, the whole point is getting pushed again and again and again. Different shit in a different package, same shit in a different package all the time. Is that e-cigs are a gateway to cigarettes for children, which we know is absolute bollocks.
They're not even
and
a gateway.
It's been proved so many times.
They're not even a gateway to e-cigs.
What on a gateway to e-cigs?
E-cigs. The majority of kids that try e-cigs do not try them again. And they're definitely not a gateway to nicotine use.
No.
The only kids that use nicotine in e-cigs are kids that are already smoking.
Exactly. And there's been study after study after study which is foobar this notion that e-cigs are a gateway to tobacco, and thousands and thousands and millions of children and adolescents in the UK, Europe and the States are taking these things up with gay abandon. It just doesn't happen.
I've just worked it out. They've not translated the latest news into Welsh yet.
Maybe they've translated the news from Welsh into English, then Welsh back into double Dutch, because it's all Greek to me.
Well, I don't know. Listen, I don't know so much about Greek. I really don't. But where did we get to? A systematic enforcement program should be developed, it says here, to minimise the sale of ends to those less than 18 years of age, including development of a register of retailers and systematic test purchasing, prosecution and media activity. Seriously, reading just that one paragraph, you'd think that this was bloody anthrax tubes that they were talking about. What?
Now, but they're only talking about nicotine in certain forms, aren't they?
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute, because I've got a bit of video about that. It's going to blow Wales off the map as far as I'm concerned. But let's just hold on to that thought for a second, because just that one paragraph, let me read it again, right? And just imagine this is coming to you from a high-ranking government official, because this effectively is, and it comes: a systematic enforcement program should be developed to minimise the sales of ends to those less than 18 years of age, including development of a register of retailers and systematic test purchasing, prosecution and media activity. The mere possession of such a thing will develop this child into a homicidal maniac who will come and kill you in your bed. That's all that's missing. Bullshit. That stumped you.
VB has asked whether anthrax tubes were a licorice sweet. I don't think they were, VB.
I can't see anthrax being that sweet. But I mean, look, they can't even spell confectionery. Let's go back to that. And if you can peer closely and see, confectionery, according to these dickheads, because I'm not going to say fuckwits, is spelt with an A instead of an E. Confectionery, like dictionary. It should be confectionery.
So they're that good they haven't even got a chuffing spell check.
Exactly right. This is how much they know. They can't spell confectionery right.
Can they spell bullshit right?
Well, they obviously don't recognise it when they're writing it. Confectionery-like flavours of e-liquid should not be permitted. In order to reduce the appeal of ends to children and young people, there should be restrictions on the use of ends in settings predominantly used by children in schools and school grounds and around the entrances to schools. There should be restrictions on the advertising of ends in all media that would be regularly viewed by children and young people. There already are. That's called the TPD, TRPR. Wales has signed up to that. It's part of it. You know, that's the way it works. That's just for children and young people. That's Christ on a bike. And what flavour's that one, Marco?
This is tea juice, red Astaire.
All right, what flavour is that?
Well, it's kind of fruity mentally.
Oh, you can't have that. Is that confectionery, is it?
No, but this one is.
What's that one?
This is a like a buttermint flavour with some ethyl maltol. So there's a bit of candy floss in there as well. Homemade mix.
Is that right,
Yeah.
is it?
And then
you're a bad
I got a
influence.
stack load of flavours last week in, some new flavours in, and let's see. None of them were tobacco. How's that for strangeness?
Isn't it just? I'm tempted to ask chat, but I've got no need to, because I know straight away. If I ask how many are vaping tobacco flavours, I know Miles will answer yes, and there'll be two others. There'll be three.
VB will say yes, RY4.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Brian Coase has put in a chat, notice Wales always quoting the bullshit from the US, but never the PHE or RCP.
Well, it's because they're Wales, you know.
And
Welsh,
Raytech says, a serious inquiry needs to be made about why the Welsh government is importing science, and placing it above UK evidence-based studies.
I think they really, really, really want to be in California.
I wish they were. In fact, to quote a particular group, I wish they all could be California girls. Over there. And apparently there are moves afoot to detach California from the United States and float it out and sink it as well. Not before time. I should point out to everybody, mind, tonight is a Trump-free zone. We're only making jokes about America, but it's a Trump-free zone. We're not going there because
that word.
I know, but we're just not going there, right?
No.
It's the easiest way to lose friends, so forget it. Doesn't matter. We can't do anything about it. Let them get on with it. Let's move on. For the non-smoking general population, right? That's everybody that's not in here, outside of the kids, right? Now, let me just put this into context, shall we? Let's imagine that you're a man of, I don't know, 50-something, and you've realised I've led a fairly abstemious life thus far. I haven't been drinking that much. I've been well down under where the CMO would think I was a really good boy. I've never smoked in my life, but I just fancy having a go at one of them e-cig things. Bearing in mind that nicotine, no more dangerous to your health than caffeine. Here's what to think about such a person, 55-year-old man that can make his own mind up. There is some evidence of the potential for end use to have a negative impact on indoor air quality and therefore represent a risk to health. Currently, the available evidence is inconclusive on the level of potential harm and more work is required. Voluntary restrictions on the use of ends in many public spaces are already in place. Until a more definitive risk assessment can be completed, voluntary restrictions on the use of ends in enclosed public spaces should continue. So they're not even going to go to the point where they've got to say, we're going to stop people from using them. They're even going to stop people from being exposed to them. And we already know that the stuff that comes in these bottles, right, no matter what bottle it is, no matter what size bottle it is identical with the exception of nicotine and perhaps flavourings, it's identical to the stuff that we put in e-cigs that comes out in, and not in e-cigs, but what goes into these haze machines. Everywhere you look, it's in haze machines. So if you go to see, what's that thing called that Marco was on? The Chase, right? Where you can see all the lights, the bunny light beams. That's thick of it. It's in the studio all over the place. If you go and watch Pointless, it's in the studio all over the place. If you go to any concert where any band is playing and they've got the big light shows going on, the place is full of it. That's what you're breathing in. I'm not seeing them trying to ban that. This is disingenuosity of the very worst order. Wouldn't you say so, Marco?
Yeah, and it's not just those kind of places. It's, you know, it's the old discotheques, isn't it?
Discotheques?
It's the clubs.
Discotheques?
You know, the clubs are all over it with air cannons firing stuff into the air and dry ice and all that kind of stuff.
No. I'm going to stop you. Dry ice got outlawed.
Yeah, you can still put dry ice in drinks, though, can't you?
Well, yes, but you can't use dry ice as an effect. And do you know why you can't use dry ice as an effect?
Because they're using propylene glycol now.
Well, no, but that's not why you can't use dry ice as an effect. You can't use dry ice as an effect because dry ice is carbon dioxide. And if you fall down face first into the carbon dioxide, it is saturated. That's why you can see it. And therefore you don't get any oxygen. And therefore you die. That's why they replaced it with propylene glycol, glycerin and polyethylene glycol mixtures that give various different densities of the vapour, but they all contain exactly the same amount of oxygen as atmospheric air. Because it's atmospheric air that's blown through. So you've got the same amount of oxygen. That's why it's used so much. Because it's safer. How many people know that? Well, a lot more than probably did before the show. What are you looking at?
I know now.
Yes, I didn't think about the concentration of carbon dioxide, to be fair. Because although we need a small amount of carbon dioxide to regulate our brain functions, too much of it leads you to comatosins.
Leads you to what?
Comatosins.
What are
you
they?
Die.
Oh, right, sorry, right. Did you not know that before, Matt?
No. I leave tonight a wiser man.
Well, I found out because that's what I did for a job. Live sound and stage sound and theatrical productions and stuff like that. So I spent many moons doing risk assessments, and every theatre you went to said no dry ice. We don't do dry ice. You've got to use frozen fog. And literally, I can show you how it works. In this glass, which is frozen cold, I shall go to full screen for this. I do apologise, chaps. I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna. We'll go to that one. Yes, I'll do that one. Right, there you go. Wow. There's a glass. It's had ice in and stuff like that. And if I drop it in gently and give it a chance to cool. I get wrong for doing this when I'm on holiday, but I will be. There you are, look. Does that look familiar? You can see the weights swimming about, look.
Looking a bit like a mad scientist there, though.
Well, I know, but does that look... That's the effect that you would have had from dry ice before.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works. Because it's cold, it stays low to the ground. Now, if air conditioning goes on in the room where you've got low-lying fog, watch what happens. Gone. Totally gone. It just disappears off the face of the planet. So there you are. I'm hoping I've taught somebody something tonight. You never know your luck, do you?
You taught me something, so that's something.
Well, hell.
Yes, breaks the ice at naughty parties. Yeah.
Yes, so no, they don't use dry ice anymore. Everything's done with exactly the same liquid that goes into e-cigs. And if anybody wants to chop that little bit out and use it in their own little bits of videos, please feel free so to do. Because not many people know that. But carbon dioxide is what are they called? Deprecated as a method of doing that now. They much prefer freezed, frozed, cooled, chilled, basically e-cig vapour.
Apparently you're now Johnny Ball.
Am I?
Yeah.
Just the one. Yes.
Yes.
Shall we?
Vape Trolls TV does Brainiacs. Yeah.
Shall we continue with the fuckwittery?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Because the next bit up is for committed smokers who are unable or unwilling to quit. It says here. Oh, hang on, no, we've got for smokers who want to quit next. Silly me, of course. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. They keep on telling us that 80% of smokers want to quit. Dilly buggery. But it says here, NHS stop smoking services which provide behavioural support and access to licensed pharmacotherapy currently offer the greatest likelihood of stopping smoking. However, the majority of smokers who make a quit attempt do so without specialist support. For these smokers, ends may prove helpful in achieving a successful quit from tobacco, although they are not currently licensed as a medicine for this purpose. Hold on a second. Yes, they are. Aren't they?
Well, there's one, isn't there?
Evoke. Evoke is licensed as a medicine. It has achieved a marketing authorization. It might not be on the market. It might not be...
all that good.
Well, that was another way of putting it. It may not be...
I was being diplomatic.
Yes, but it is...
Well, the word efficacy comes in there somewhere.
Yeah, safety, quality and efficacy. It has been proved safe enough, of good enough quality and effective enough. That's what they have decided. But it is on the market. Even though you can't get it, it has a marketing authorization. So for them to say that they're not currently licensed as a medicine for this purpose, I keep on finding them out in lies, you know. These people are lying. But it says here, if you smoke and would like to stop, there are a range of medicines and other help available from NHS Wales. Research shows that if you get help to quit, you are 4 times more likely to stop. That's actually not true. If you prefer to go it alone, then e-cigarettes may be helpful in your quit attempt. Independent and unbiased advice on different aids to quitting smoking is available from Stop Smoking Wales. Now is when I'm going to play another piece of video in, Mark.
Oh.
Now, let's just remember what they just said. And the following paragraph. But independent and unbiased advice on different aids to quitting smoking is available from Stop Smoking Wales. Public Health Wales will include information on ends alongside other aids to stopping smoking in all information materials, and in Stop Smoking Wales support services. Information on all products will be presented to support smokers in making an informed choice about the best way to quit for them. I present some evidence at this point. This is Professor Andy somebody or other, whose second name I can't remember because basically he's a fuckwit, who was speaking at the London South Bank University at the panel on e-cigarettes, which was chaired by Martin Dockrell, and had Professor Peter Hayek there to speak, as well as a young lady from Cancer Research UK. I give you what he had to say. I take no responsibility for anybody who pushes anything through the screen of their computer while they listen to this fuckwit burble on.
Well, Peter, I think you were one of the people who trained me in smoking cessation work, so what's your mind?
Undoubtedly, yes, of course. Stopping smoking with e-cigarettes may be inferior in stopping smoking unaided or with NRT, but it's still stopping smoking benefit. My reading of the evidence is very different from Patrick's. I'm not sure what evidence he's got. I can certainly share with you what evidence I've got, and I think there is no doubt cigarettes effectiveness of stopping smoking.
Andy.
When I started research into tobacco smoking in the 1980s, the prevailing model was then that nicotine was good for you. It made you more alert, made you more relaxed, made you happier, less depressed. And for 3 or 4 years I worked in this model, and it confused me because smokers seem to be such a miserable lot. They seem to be stressed, depressed, their cognitive skills were not better than those of non-smokers. So I had big problems with this literature. And I did a study in 1994, which I published, which showed that nicotine makes you moody. You hit on a cigarette and you feel okay, but then 30, 40 minutes later, you feel stressed, your alertness is low, etc., etc. And if you look at the profiles of mood change over the day, smokers' moods go up and down. So nicotine is a pretty poor drug. it makes you moody. If you look at smoking and you take up smoking, within a year of take up smoking, you're more stressed, you're more depressed, your cognitive skills are worse. If you look at cognitive skills of smokers versus non-smokers, the smokers have impaired brain function. Nicotine is not a good drug. So therefore, to answer the question, if I was to recommend smokers to quit smoking, I would recommend a drug which didn't produce a hit. Now, the problem with the nicotine inhaler, the nicotine cigarette, the e-cigarette, is it produces a hit. You want a drug which doesn't produce a hit, which you don't get addicted to. So my strong recommendation, which I've said for many years to my students at Swansea University, a long way away in Wales, is the patch. Use a big patch to start with. It doesn't produce a hit, but it reduces cravings. My understanding is that that is quite successful with many people. The other thing I'd educate people about is read about smoking, read about all the diseases it causes, develop a negative view of smoking. If you do that in smokers, if you get them to read about the heart attacks, the cancers, the World Health Organization report that 48% of smokers are killed by smoking. Once students know that, they want to quit. You've got to get smokers to want to quit. Then, to get out of nicotine, you give them a patch. You don't want to transfer them over to another addictive drug, i.e. e-cigarette. So I'm afraid my answer to that is no, I wouldn't recommend the e-cigarette. I'd recommend the patch.
So would I recommend that someone switch to vaping instead of smoking to stop smoking? So we know that stop smoking services are the most effective way to quit. However, e-cigarettes are by far the most popular quitting aid right now. So for a lot of people, they just don't want to use they don't want to use stop smoking services. So an e-cigarette is a good option to stop smoking. We know that they're a lot safer than using tobacco, and stopping using tobacco is the best thing a smoker can do for their health. So when they have so much potential to get people to stop smoking, with the evidence right now, can we really just sit back and wait? So I would say, if they've tried stop smoking services, or if they're just not willing to attend a stop smoking service, they've tried other methods, an e-cigarette would be a good option.
That's called Stanton Glance.
Yeah, saw that.
Say that again?
Someone in chat is called Stanton Glance.
Really? Hiya, Stanton. Nice to see you, man. Hey, look, I mean, seriously, honestly, truthfully, there he is sitting there from Swansea, the man himself, and you definitely don't want people to be using nicotine, Marco. You don't because nicotine.
No.
So
no, you shouldn't. If you want to get off smoking, I do not recommend you use anything with nicotine like an e-cigarette, but I do recommend patches. That's because I've got some huge kickbacks coming from pharma, and my pension fund is heavily invested in the pharma industry.
So
Allegedly.
these patches, are they made from tea bags?
No, that's snus.
Oh,
Do you know what I found so surprising about that last bit of VT? How they all weren't round a circle wearing cagoules singing fucking Kumbaya. That's what I want to know. Pardon my French.
That happened later.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, seriously.
I wish this was alcohol. I really do.
I would recommend you to go and watch the whole thing. It's on Facebook. Look up London South Bank University and check out videos. It's the second latest one they've done. Be warned, however, that you will need headphones. You will need to turn it up really loud. It took me nearly an hour to get that audio to the point where it was as bad as it is. And that's like 1,000 times better than it was. It was absolutely shocking. But be warned that if you get an email, you will be deafened. And ask Wraith Tech about that. He'll tell you because he was. And as has been pointed out by Rigel 7th, they're getting the same shit in the USA. There is one common thread, and that's the World Health Organization, the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. That's the one common thread. And who advises them? Our old friend Stand-on Glands. That's
somebody would.
Oh God, somebody should stand on his head. But look, so there you have, you see, if he's a professor of public health. This fella has got big standing in Wales. He's one of the big knobs, apparently, in Wales when it comes to public health and smoking and e-cigs and nicotine and tobacco and all the rest of it. So when they say independent and unbiased advice on different aids to quitting smoking is available from Stop Smoking Wales, you will forgive me if I suggest that apparently there's not, and there won't be, because there are so many Welsh Walians take exactly the same kind of view as that fuckwitted moron who was in that panel. You got anything to say about him or what he said, Marco? Because honestly, I couldn't get my hat on. It's ridiculous.
I just, obviously I was fighting to hear what was being said, but it just seemed to be. In fact, I don't think it matters what evidence he would have in front of him. He would not recommend the use of e-cigarettes whatsoever. However, because it contains nicotine, obviously, but he would recommend wholeheartedly the patch, because you don't get a hit from a patch, and it's obviously doesn't have any nicotine in it. It must be made from fairy farts or something. Some magical, elixir from the olden days that was dug up in a pit. I don't know.
I've got. To be honest, I've got no idea what he's thinking. Matt?
Total fuckwittery.
Yes, Matt.
The patch. Have either of you ever tried the patch?
I couldn't get them to light.
My mum tried the patches out donkeys years ago, but they haven't changed. I mean, it is a patch with nicotine on it, and that's it. It goes in through your skin. And I tried one, and all it did was blister my skin.
Well, all it did for me, it gave me a rash, and it made me fucking violently sick.
Too high a dose?
That's because you were allergic to the adhesive.
But there was no guidance, really. I mean, God knows how long ago this was now. There was no guidance to say, oh, you need to use this. You slap a patch on and job done.
Funny thing is, I'm getting comments on Periscope now saying, a lot of people saying, nasty rash, blisters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I had a square rash on my arm.
My mum had. They told her to move it about the place. Don't put it in the same place twice. So she had it where you would straight away on your arm like a tattoo. And then she had it on the inside of her wrist. And then she tried it on the inside of her thigh and couldn't walk for 3 days. So, Derek Scott Jolly says, patches have the magical unicorn fart nicotine apparently.
There you go. I knew it was something like that.
Yes, that's what it is. It's distilled from magical fairy farts and unicorn pee. So it's not the same nicotine. Obviously can't be the same nicotine that's in e-cigs. And again, there's a bloke sitting there spouting away from a point of view of having absolutely no knowledge of the pharmacokinetics of nicotine from e-cigs. And if he'd only spoken and listened to the guy that was sat next to him, Peter Hayek, Peter could have told him about the pharmacokinetics of nicotine from e-cigs and how you need to have at least 50 milligram in a beginner's setup in order to be able to even approach the hit, as he wants to call it, from lit tobacco. The guy is a raving lunatic. Sorry, but pardon me.
Let's suppose for a moment that the patch wasn't invented however many years ago it was. And it came out last week. A man in China went on the internet, put up a video and said, hey guys, look, I just invented this great way to help you stop smoking. Here's how you can make it yourself. Do you think that would be allowed? I don't think it would be.
Well, I can show people how to make a patch.
It's dead easy.
It's not hard. All you need is an elastoplast and some nicotine.
It was a mistake, wasn't it? The guy developed it by mistake.
Yes.
Because he was working in his basement at home. His wife wanted to quit smoking. He was working with nicotine in rats, and he spilt some on the floor. He spilt some on his hand, and it was quite potent, and it knocked him out. And he got a real buzz from it. He didn't smoke, so he came up with the idea, hold on a minute, let's get an elastoplast, put a little bit of nicotine on, and he used his wife and his brother-in-law as guinea pigs. And the rest, as they say, is history.
But the point I'm trying to make, as I'm sure you've gathered, is that it wasn't a big news. People didn't suddenly find out about it because there wasn't the technology there to do that at the time. Like there is now. You can let everyone know pretty much planet-wide within a day.
Within minutes, seconds.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the fact being here that someone picks up, and he obviously went to somewhere and things happened, and the right people got paid, the right people got no brown nose and that sort of thing, and it became acceptable.
Well, yes. The bottom line on it is that here we have a so-called medicine that has been tested by every medicinal authorization organization worldwide, whether that be Europe, whether it be USA, whether it be Australasia, whether it be India, whether it be Africa, on all of the continents, all of the countries that have got medicinal authorization organizations like the MHRA, like the FDA, they've all authorized patches, gums and inhalators as NRT, right? All of them. And I've lost my bloody point. Yes, would they today? Would they do that today? Would they authorise a self-build kit for this kind of thing, given that the process for making it is very, very simple? You know?
I would suggest no, they wouldn't.
But the bottom line on it is, and I've remembered where I was going now, they've all authorised these things as a medicine. Now, let's look at one or two other medicines. Let's look at something like, say, paracetamol, which is a painkiller. And for an awful lot of people, it kills pain. In fact, whilst it's not the strongest on there, if you've got something that paracetamol is effective against, it's effective against it 99% of the time. Am I right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same with codeine.
Mm-hmm.
Even better mixed together.
That's paracodol, isn't it? So, but as medicines, 99% of the time they do what they say on the tin. I have got a headache, take one of these and your headache will go away, and it does. Great. So now you go down to your local stop smoking services and you say to them, I want a medicine that will make me stop smoking. Oh, well, we have this here, which is 4 times more likely to make you stop smoking. It is a medicine. And then 93% of people who take the medicine, it doesn't cure their condition. Either they are not ill and therefore no medicine will work, or there's been some graft involved and it's not a bloody medicine to start with. Which say you, Mark, since you were on screen?
Oh yeah, I can see on Periscope on this to the left of me.
Yes.
Yes, but it's not just the patches and the inhalators that the stop smoking services offer, is it? It's the Champix as well. So that might stop you from smoking, but it also might send you around the chopping bend and make you suicidal.
It has the
allegedly.
same failure rate. This is a
the
combination
number
of all of them. It has the same failure rate. It's no more effective.
The number one most effective thing to keep you off lit tobacco is one of them.
He's right. He's right. He's not wrong.
Well, I saw an advert on telly the other day that said that NRT was the best way of quitting smoking, and it was presented by Medifax.
Oh,
apparently.
yes.
Yeah.
Now, Ian Green actually shared something on Facebook, and I put a screenshot of the photo into our little receptacle thing online. I don't know if you got that, Dave.
Oh, gold.
Go folder. And it's an advert for Nicorette gum. And the tagline is, while Dave's trying to get it onto a shot, success has never tasted so sweet. And it's Nicorette mini lozenge in mint, in cherry, and in fruit chill, they call it, which looks like pineapple, strawberry, and orange.
Is this in the Monday show?
It is in the Monday show folder, yes.
What's it called?
It's called, bollocks, no it's not, it's called Nicorette.jpg.
No, it isn't. I haven't got it.
Well, it should be.
Well, I haven't got it.
I can see it.
Well, you might be able to, but I
a good
can't.
picture anyway.
Anyway, so there's the irony, is that Wales are attacking flavours in e-cigs, but yet the pharmaceutical version, the Nicorette, the gum, and the lozenge, can be marketed in all sorts of flavours, because that's fine, isn't it? Because it's pharma.
Oh, I've posted that picture, I don't know how many thousands of times on Twitter, yes. And they've got all lovely names for it as well. Arctic fruits, raspberry buzz, and so on and so on and so forth. It's craziness, utter bloody craziness.
They're 4 milligram lozenges.
Yeah. Yes, you let a child take 8 of those in one go. Watch what happens. And how many do they come in a blister pack of?
Don't know. There's enough there to make a child very sick.
20.
That's for sure.
They come in blister packs of 20.
Yeah, 20 pieces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know this exactly right, because the idea is that they know that the pharmacokinetics of this, the adsorption, not absorption, but adsorption from the lozenge is 25% of its nicotine content buccally, and because you suck them, right, you're going to get 1 milligram, and they reckon 1 milligram's equal to a fag, so you get 20 because that's a day's supply, because you're a 20-a-day smoker. And yeah, everybody's a 20-a-day smoker, isn't they? You know, nobody smokes 30 or 15 or 60 or 80 or 10. Everybody's a 20-a-day smoker. So you get 20 in a pack, and a pack of those will cost you, guess what? 9 quid.
Same as a packet
£9
of fags.
quid.
Yeah, just slightly cheaper than a packet of fags. I wonder why that would be the case.
Yeah.
And there we have, you know,
I'd love to know how much they cost to produce.
pennies a pack. I mean, look, if you want to know how much does it cost to buy a packet of Wrigley's chewing gum?
Well, it must be about 60, 70p now.
I doubt it's that much. It's not much.
Who knows?
Well, for a pack of 5 sticks.
I don't know. No. One of those tubs with 40 in.
Oh God, they're about 4 quid.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well,
how in the car?
Yeah, well, right. If you buy that, that's got twice as many chewy bits in as you would get in an NRT gum. So let's say it was going to be 2 quid to buy them without the nicotine. They stick the nicotine in them, and all of a sudden, how much is it?
It's double the price.
Tenner.
Half the amount.
It's a tenner. Yeah, it's a tenner. And nicotine's not that expensive. We know that. You can buy a litre of 72 milligram for 30 quid at the minute. That's pissed him off because he paid 40.
No, I didn't actually. I bought 2 litres recently, and what did I pay? I think I paid 65 quid.
Oh, it's
2 litres.
It's cheaper now.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw Sav had posted it was like 30 quid a litre.
30 quid a litre. Yeah. Guess who's putting an order in when he gets back? But yeah, so all of this, it doesn't matter which way you look at it. You know, it's got a 93% success rate as far as stop smoking services are concerned. It's just bullshit. It's utter bullshit. It's total crap.
Right. It is. It's the same old, isn't it? I mean, they come out of this crap and then. So I'll do it again.
Guess who the only people are? The only people that should be allowed access to e-cigs. Committed smokers who are unwilling or unable to quit. For committed smokers who are unable to quit, there is a high degree of consensus that the benefits of using ends significantly outweigh the harms. The harms associated with the alternative of continuing to use tobacco are significant and well established. The exception to this advice would be for pregnant women, as the potential risks to the unborn child are unknown. I'm not even going to go any further than that, because yet again we have another bloody lie. Because Linda Bald, who is intimately involved with studies on this, will tell you outright to your face, you've got a choice between smoking, vaping and quitting altogether. And if you vape, you're fine. It's that good. These are the same people, right, in Wales that will tell you shouldn't use NRT either. They are barking. They are off their trolleys. They are out of their tiny minds, and they need to be resisted with all the might that we can muster. That's what I think. What do you think, Matt?
I think you're right there, Dave. Absolutely. Hold on.
It drives me bloody nuts. It really does. I mean, you'd think that Wales was in the bloody 17th century. They've got no clue about the science. None. And if they have, they're ignoring it for the sake of ignoring it. It is completely and utterly bloody ridiculous.
Well, to be fair, a lot of them can't work out what the blinky yellow lights in the corner of the cars do on a roundabout. But there we are.
Well, there is that. But I mean, look, let's be right about this. They are thinking that if we get rid of confectionery flavoured juices, the kids won't take it up. Wrong. Bullshit. If you want to do something, you'll do it. And let's face it, and I'm going back into my childhood days here, if you can pick up something that tastes as vile as a cigarette tastes to me now, and persevere with that for whatever reason, then I'm afraid confectionery's got nothing to do with it. Night, Sprotty. Confectionery's got nothing to do with it. This is pure and simple prohibitionism trying to hammer the thin end of the wedge in. And the really daft part is that there are politicians and people out in the wild that'll help them do that. I keep on hearing vapers saying, oh, well, nobody under 18 should get an e-cig. I'm sorry, does harm reduction start at 18 like? Does harm reduction start at 18? Think how old you were when you picked your first fag up. What would have happened if you'd picked an e-cig up? And we know that there is nowhere close to the addictive potential with an e-cig that there is with a fag. And, you know, so how old were you when you picked your first fag up? Imagine picking an e-cig up and then 6 months later going, nah, can't be arsed.
Mm.
And 6 months later you could easily go, can't be arsed. You know, that 15 quid a month I'm spending on the e-cig stuff, actually I could put that into condoms.
Strawberry or lime flavoured?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn as long as it works.
Yeah, you don't tend to get many of the extra ribbed e-cigs, do you?
This
Ribbed
one's a
for your vaping pleasure.
This one's a handful. No, but I mean, seriously, honestly, you know, I mean, you know, if a 13, 14-year-old lad decides he wants to give e-cigs a go, and then a couple of years down the road, he gets, you know, tapped up, to use the vernacular, and all of a sudden discovers he actually needs the money for a somewhat more pleasurable horizontal experience, shall we say, then, yeah, I'll do without the e-cigs, that's not a problem, because I'm away down the chemist's for something a bit more, yes.
Polynucleoside.
If that's what you want to call it, Marco. Bragging again. 20ml bottle, was it? But you know what I mean? You know, I mean, the addictive potential just isn't there. It's not the same. These things are a diversion from smoking. If you want to look at it from the public health perspective, I actually don't care. I don't have a problem with that, the notion of what they call addiction, because addiction is just pleasure that you have on a regular basis. And it comes from the chemicals in your brains. And somebody on Twitter the other day was saying, I don't understand why you need chemicals to have pleasure. You get them when you have pleasure. And there are quicker ways to get it, you know? And that's fine. Even elephants and monkeys and chimpanzees and God knows what else will go and find a fermented fruit so that they can have alcohol because it gives them pleasure. Everybody seeks pleasure. It's called the pleasure principle for a bloody reason. And these people denying that, they've got no clue. Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I certainly don't eat a nice, sumptuous steak and have a glass of wine for nourishment's sake alone.
Just be careful you don't burn your chips, because I was reading another story on the old BBC earlier on, where they're now talking about if restaurants serve you overdone potatoes or maybe a burnt Yorkshire pudding, they could get a visit from trading standards, from the food safety services. If someone gives you toast that's a little bit brown, for God's sake. What is it with this country? What is it with the nanny state?
Well, look,
I like my toast quite brown. I'll toast my toast twice to get a nice colour on it. Do you know what I mean? Urgh.
See, when it comes to steak, if a good vet couldn't revive it, then I'm sending it back. That's the way it works for me. When it comes
I've had the pleasure of sitting in a restaurant with you sending back steak.
You have, it's true.
Yes, it was rather amusing.
It was overdone.
It was overdone.
It was bleeding awful. I mean, I asked.
It wasn't bleeding at all. That's the
that's exactly the trouble. I mean, but you know, the bottom line on it is, what word did we get back from there? And I've had it in other. Oh well, we're not allowed to serve it under a certain temperature. That means it's got to be medium rare. Well, I'm sorry, I ain't paying 18 quid for a good piece of meat to be ruined. Just bring me it raw. We're not allowed. Why? Well, because health and safety. Why health and safety? What have they said? Well, the EU has, and it's just like, oh, for God's sake. I know what I'm ordering. I know what I'm eating. When it comes to e-cigs, I know what I'm ordering. I know what I'm vaping. I've been around this. What is it? It's coming up to bloody 8 years. I ain't dead yet. It's not going to kill me. And it's about time people got to understand how this whole thing works. Now, all of this thing in Wales is all about, well, it's public health, it's medicine, it's stopping smoking. It's bullshit. It's utter bloody bullshit. It's got nothing to do with them. Nothing. It should have nothing to do with them. The bottom line on it is a lifestyle choice. Now, if I choose to walk about the place with 43 different coloured ribbons up my arm, tattooed all over me face, with a bloody Roman candle sticking out of my arse, that's my choice. And nobody is able to stop me from doing that. They might not let me into various places, that's fine. But the bottom line on it is public health isn't bothered about that. And neither should they be. It's not their business. They need to butt their assholes out because they're starting now to really, really, really annoy me. I'm going off screen. Over to you, Marco.
No, I just caught you on the Periscope feed. Having a little rant there, Dave.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said earlier on, it's the thin end of the wedge. And we've been seeing this more and more and more over the past few years, where the nanny state want to wrap us all in cotton wool. You know, I'm trying to think of the word here. The only reason why there's so many kids with eczema and asthma and everything else, it's not diesel fumes, which I'm also annoyed about with Westminster Council, but that's another story. Because I don't live there. When I was a lad, and when you was a lad, and doubtless when young Mr. Gerrish was a lad last week, we used to play out. We used to go and build tree houses. We used to fall, cut ourselves, get covered in shite and mud and all sorts. And that was a good thing. But nowadays, oh my God.
Oh, they put shredded tires and bloody...
the kid comes back with a graze or a big gash down his arm because he fell out of a tree. They have social services round thinking that he's been beaten up by his parents.
Now, when I was a lad, I used to fall off my bike, get a bloody great bit of rock in my eyeball, bleed to death, and then my dad would go, you're not dead yet, and give me a hiding for wasting their time, you know?
Yeah, or breaking your bike, yeah.
I mean, look, I'm a biker, right? When I first started biking, what seems like a million years ago, helmets were not compulsory. So, you look at it and you think, well, do I get one or do I not? And you have a ride on your mate's bike before you buy yours without a helmet. And when I was a young one, we used to be blasting up the pit heaps on crappy bikes that would pull out the barns and what have you. And you didn't wear a helmet and you fell off and I'm not dead, right? I've got a few cuts and bruises, we all did, that wasn't a problem. And then you get out on your own bike and you go past an accident and you see somebody with the head completely stoved, you think, actually, I'm going to wear a helmet. That was my choice. And then they made it compulsory to wear a helmet, except there are certain people who are exempt from wearing a helmet, which I don't like. I don't like that at all. It's no exemptions. If there is one level of exemption, then nobody should be forced to do anything. And the same applies to seat belts. The same applies to all kinds of things. There are exemptions in various different areas. Now, when they got on, and I was trying to work out why they'd said in Wales that there was no medicinal e-cig. Why would they say that? And they say that because that is the exemption, isn't it, to their voluntary ban and their ability to statutorily ban. Because if there is a medicinal e-cig, they cannot ban a medicine, can they?
I'd like to actually point out, if it's a voluntary ban on using e-cigs in Wales, why is every local Labour council prohibited from anyone that works there is prohibited from using an e-cig on those council premises? That's not voluntary, is it?
Well, no, it's
that's a human resources policy, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's an edict. It's what it is. It's not
But
a
can
voluntary
you
ban.
smoke on the grounds?
No.
I mean, let's be right about it. But the only reason they've lied about that is because they know they'd have to make an exemption for medicinal e-cigs. They would have to, because it's a medicine. It's recognised as a medicine. It's authorised as a medicine. It's got a marketing authorisation as a medicine. It's the only reason they can have.
Sorry, Dave. I once actually, right, disclosure time here. For those of you who don't know, I work for a Welsh local authority. I'm not going to say which one, but I do. And some years ago when I started vaping, I actually emailed our HR department asking for clarification on where I stood. I was then forwarded to the Health and Safety Department. Long story short, I was told, no, you're not allowed to use them. And I asked the question, so if one was a medicine, would I be able to use that in the office or in the premises? They never, ever got back to me on that one.
Well, they wouldn't.
No.
They wouldn't do that, because the minute they do that, the minute they say, well, it's a medicine, therefore we can't stop you, which is pretty much the case as I understand it, where do they go from there? Because they have no clue what's a medicine and what isn't. I have seen, and it, thankfully very, very rare, but I've got friends who are type 1 diabetics, so they're born that way. And obviously they need to use insulin. And in the old days, you know, when you're a young and you do stupid things, don't you? And one of my mates that was diabetic, he would take his tie off and wrap it round the forearm and pull it tight in his mouth, and then put the insulin. And of course, everybody's, and there were people hadn't got a bloody clue. They didn't know what the hell it was he was doing. And he got wrong for doing it and told to calm it all down. But he said, well, I'm not going to stop taking it. He got hired out of places because they thought he was doing something else. But once they realised, and once he stopped being a nugget about the whole thing, there wasn't a problem, you know. But the same is going to apply, isn't it, when it comes to e-cigs? If it's one of the reasons I would like to see a medicinal one out there, not because I think medicinal e-cigs is a good idea or that I think e-cigs should be medicinal. It just gives us the bloody tool to be able to wander up to these idiots in places like Wales and say, well, what are you going to do about this, pal? Because look, it's medicine. It says so on the box, and here's my prescription. So you can go and yourself. And I'm using it, and you can't stop us. Get us arrested. See what happens. Get yourself up in front of the beak, and we'll find out what the magistrates have got to say. And Crown Court. You know, I've got to that stage now. I'm fed up with these buggers pissing about and messing about. They need to be held to account. They need to be shown up to be the morons and idiots that they are, that are being just morally objecting to something that a lot of people enjoy and which is going to do nobody any harm. It does get to me. I'll take myself off screen. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. Sorry.
Now, Paul Wilson in chat has said, I work for a local authority. Oops, just going up. I work for a local authority, and we used to be able to use e-cigs in the office. Then we merged with the local health authority, and they came in and got them banned. Now, many years ago, I used to work for British Airways, and I worked for British Airways Engineering down in Heathrow. And we could smoke in the offices. Now, I didn't smoke then. I'd given up at that point. I gave up for 4 years. And there was a lad who used to work next to me, and he'd be there chuffing all day on his B&H. And it used to just blow in my direction, but I couldn't do anything about it. So, just saying.
I used to know someone that worked for Philip Morris years ago. He liked to smoke.
Well, I know people that smoke. I know people that vape. I know people that neither smoke nor vape. I was talking to a guy on Sunday at the bike meet, actually, about mixing his own juice. He's toying with the idea of getting started because he's been told by his shop where he goes that they've probably got about 6 30-milligram bottles. Sorry, 30 milliliter bottles left of the juice he likes. And it's menthol.
So which did I see on Twitter the other day? You bought the last 120 mil bottles of your particular favourite.
I bought the last 2, yes.
Oh, that's a bugger.
I've opened a trade account now.
Good man.
Well, there's a lot of people that think I'm in the trade, so bollocks, I might as well be. Bugger it. So I'll buy it by the 5 litres now. And after May the 20th, I'm here to tell you. I'm not pissing about. They're just not going to stop me doing what I want to do. I will break the laws. It's a stupid law. And I'll break the law. Because it has to be broken. It's no good just sitting kowtowing to them on this one. Sod them. I'm going to do it my way.
A little bit of speculation on my part here. How many of these juice vendors now, with all their flavours and whatever, I wonder how many are actually going to start selling them in concentrate form?
I would hope that the one shot or... Well, Marco, you've got a setup that works for this, haven't you? Have you got it handy?
I haven't got it handy. It's outside. But I'll be showing you it next week.
It's what you said last week.
Yeah, I know. But I was busy at the weekend. I was working at the weekend. I was up in Scotland.
He's a tease.
He's just a tease. Just a tease.
So on next week's show, I will be showing you something that I got when I bought all my stuff recently. I'll also be bringing you a bit of VT on a little bit of kit that appeared in the post last week.
The thing being, I mean, you've got vendors such as Decadent Vapors have always sold all of their flavours in concentrate form.
Yeah, I mean, T-Juice do the same. I mean, you know, this Red Astaire is made from the concentrate, which I get from T-Juice.
There's a fair number of them. But for example, I've got here a bottle of V-God Tornado. I can't buy the concentrate for that, but will I be able to, I wonder? You never know.
Well, we'll be able to ask the question.
Yeah, what you need is a mass spectrometer.
Pardon?
Get it broken down in its constituent parts and recreate it. Reverse engineered.
Ploppenall says it's dead easy to buy 10ml plus bottles in Dutch vape shops.
10 plus millilitres.
10 plus mil.
Is that bigger than 10 millilitres or many 10 millilitres? I'm not entirely sure.
Well, there was the point. I mean, this guy I was talking to yesterday, he says, well, if I want a litre, I can buy 110 mils. Yeah, I'm sure you can, except you won't get it at the same price as a litre in a litre bottle. Because
you'll also have a shitload of plastic bottles to get rid of.
You also won't get quite as much liquid out of those 10ml bottles as
you won't.
One big one.
You would end up with 900 mils because there's always some left in the bottles and it doesn't matter how long you leave them to drip. Yeah. Aside from which, you would pay twice the price because the cost of a 10ml bottle is the same as the cost of a 120ml bottle or a 100ml bottle. They're only pennies apart. It's the spout and the cap that costs the real money. The rest's a piece of cake. And there's about the same amount of material.
Well,
Paul Robinson's just said concentrates don't contain nicotine, so it shouldn't be a problem. Well, it won't be if they'll put them on the market.
Aye.
Yeah, I mean, there is no problem at all with any flavouring or PG, VG, PEG.
There's only nicotine-containing liquids.
Yes, so it's nicotine or it's nicotine-containing liquids. So, you know, flavours, not a problem.
Well, quite.
In whatever, you can get 50 litres, 5 gallons, whatever you like. You get a whole tanker full delivered to your house. You know, that's not the issue. It's the nicotine that is the issue. And in this kit that I do have...
That's why it's good to get your nick now. No, that's not the point at all.
No, it's not the point. I mean, you know, we all are getting nicotine now while we can.
Yeah.
But
what
it's
about
not
the
the
bag that
point.
starts in 6 months?
Exactly. It's not about us. It's about the people who are still smoking, who want to make that switch, who will be unable to buy a strength that is going to help them then come off lit tobacco and go on to vaping all the time, or wean themselves off, which way they want to do. We're not saying that e-cigs are a quit aid, but what we're saying that you can do is you can do that if you want to. I know people that have done that and they're now on zero nick, or they've stopped completely.
I know a couple like that. I'm not one of them.
No, but conversely, I know somebody who was a smoker, went to vaping, and is now back on smoking.
Well, look, the bottom line on all of this is, come May the 20th, it's going to be illegal for anybody to sell anything that's above 20 milligrams of nicotine in a bottle that is above 10 millilitres.
Which, of course, translates to 18, doesn't it, as well?
Of course it does, yes.
Yeah, because no one's going to go anywhere near the top level
No,
just in case it goes over.
So, yes, those of us that are aware and that are around now, yes, we can stock up. But what about the poor bugger that decides to take e-cigs up on May the 21st for whatever reason? For whatever reason. They are going to be stuffed. They're going to be completely stuffed. Now, yes, the bulk of the problem is going to lie with those people who are already smoking and wish to switch to something that is safer and or more enjoyable, whichever way you want to put it. That is where the bulk of the problem is going to lie. But, you know, I don't know how we get round this other than down the pub. That's what it's going to be. Because this guy I was talking to yesterday, he wants to have a little go. So I'm going to bring him round here and we'll mix a couple of 100 mils up. And it's going to be all menthol. So don't expect any sense out of me after I've done it. But that's what him and his wife use. So I'll show them how to do it. And then if it's something he thinks he can manage and he wants to carry on, then fine. I'll put him in touch with the right people. But he's going to need to get shed loads in. He's got to cater for 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? And what would have happened if we'd had that conversation on May the 20th and then we needed to sort something out on May the 21st? Where then is he going to go? And what happens if he feels the need to be totally legal in what he's doing? Where then is he going to go? And coming back to where we started here, Wales, you're not helping. Wales, you're throwing people under the bus and you did not to be. Wales, you are, as far as public health is concerned, a danger to life and limb. And you need to acknowledge that and you need to put it right. I'm going off screen again because my blood pressure's rising.
Yeah, couple of comments in chat here. DJ Reptile said, we haven't sold much 24 milligram in the last 2 years and 18 milligram sales are nowhere near where they were due to devices being so much better. And of course, you know, cloud chasing, you generally use 3 or 6, don't you? You know, and Condor in chat has said, what concerns me is that, oh, it's moved, is they will try to use a cig light with 3 mil. I doubt that would work at all for quitting. Well, no, they don't.
Switch it, and look, the bottom line on it is, right, I have got in here, there's 10 coils in this core, 10. That's 1 0, 1 less than 11, 1 more than 9. And I'm putting 9 milligram through this, and the density of this vapor that I'm getting through is ginormous. And I can tell you, because I know how much e-liquid I use, I can tell you how much nicotine I'm taking into it. And there's no way I would be able to do that with 3 milligram on a generation 1 or even a generation 2 device. It's only because I'm using this fairly cutting edge stuff that I can get away with 6 and 9 milligram. Other than that, it wouldn't happen. And we've got to be cognizant of the fact. I mean, one of the lasses that was at the bike meet yesterday, she was using a spinner. She had a spinner.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Spinner with a CE4 on top. Now, we all know how good they are. They're not brilliant. They're not brilliant. And she was vaping 18, and she was happy with that. And so, all right, she's going to be okay come the fateful day. But her sister may need 24 or 36. Where's she going to be? Chatham is where she's going to be come the fateful day. And Wales isn't helping. Paul Robinson says, what about a patch and an e-cig when new rules come in for new vapors? Well, if I can take that one, if people don't mind. Look, that might well work. I've spoken to people in stop smoking services that think that that's probably a good idea. And yes, it probably is. But it medicinalizes it, doesn't it? It makes the process a medical process. It makes the process something that you've actually got to think about. And where is the enjoyment in sticking a patch in various different parts of your body to stop the rash and stop the blistering and stop everything like that? I'm not convinced it's a brilliant idea. I've got to say, I'd rather see them use snus and an e-cig, if I'm to be honest. I'll shut up again.
I'm quite fond of snus, actually. I've tried it once or twice.
Never had snus.
Have you not? It's quite pleasurable.
No.
Well, I've got to be honest and say I've now tried it 4 times and every time it's made me gum bleed. So I can't use it. I'd love to. I'd love to be able to use it because I get a good kick out of it. It's lovely from that point of view. But from the point of view of the discomfort it puts into my mouth, I can't use the nicotine either for exactly the same reason. I've got a very, very sensitive mouth. No laughing at the back.
What about in the front? No, I mean, I wouldn't want to say, you know, if you want to get stronger than 18, shove a patch on and vape 18. That's just my personal view.
Yeah.
I don't want Farmer to get the money for anything else. So, but if that works for people, then that might be what they have to do. What will more than likely happen is what happened when the price of fags started going up and up and up and up and up. They'll be buying them down the pub. They'll be buying them from a friend of a friend, and it will be either stuff that's made illegally in the UK or it's brought in illegally, but you've got no idea who's making it, what's in it. It's like the fags that were coming in, and there were all the floor sweepings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There was the really bad ones, as well as the ones that were coming in from Eastern Europe that were just, a foreign brand.
The amount of times I've been stood in a line outside a club or a gig or something to go in, and some blokes walked past and said, "Do you want to buy a packet of fags for £1?" Yeah, all right then. I'll have 3.
Well, look, I mean, there are going to be people who are well known in various different circles of society who are known to have, shall we say, 20 litres of 72 milligram in a refrigerator or a fridge, not frizz, that's me hair. And those people will be approached, and there will be a thriving black market in stronger nicotine. So
you're going to sort us out then, Dave?
You don't even have to
got
ask.
Yourself a sauce yet, then? Have you not got yourself a sauce yet, Mark?
Of course he has.
A sauce? I've got lots of sauces.
There we are then.
How can
black pepper sauce?
How can I put this? There's a ton of the stuff, a metric ton of the stuff is already sorted. And if I've got to put a metric ton container out in the back garden, then I'll put a metric ton container out in the back garden. I don't give a monkeys.
And Dave lives at number.
Shut up. The fact of the matter is, before. Well, it's not unobvious, is it? I mean, this is blatantly bloody obvious that this is what's going to happen. If you've got a group of 20 of you, you can afford to buy 1,000 litres of 72 milligram nic. You can.
Yep.
It's not that expensive to do. You can have it shipped in, you can have it put into very cold storage. That, again, is not that difficult to do if there's enough of you together. And if you do it now, it ain't illegal. If you then let people know and you don't sell it, in other words, they've joined your club, they've become a member of your club, then what are they going to do? You're not a trader. No. I'll be making absolutely certain that I'm properly well stocked up, but I'm not going to be properly well stocked up for me. I'm going to be properly well stocked up to be able to help out people that need the help. That's why. And at the same time, fighting like hell to get shot of this shite that is the TPD. It's shite, get shot. Hashtag we need to be using more. I'll shut up again.
You keep shutting up, Matt. Yeah, I mean, that's quite a good hashtag. We should be using that a lot more. And obviously, there are things happening within the next 2 or 3 years, but that's 2 or 3 years. And we don't know at what point which regulations are going to get kept and which regulations aren't. I didn't mention that word. I didn't mention it at all. And it's on the swear filter in chat, so you can't use it there either.
Well, John Summers has just reminded me as well that he's done a video for Dr. Andy McEwen to show how to mix your own. So, it's known about. It's known about. We're coming fairly close to time. There was something else that I just wanted to bring up that got sent to me earlier on today, which I thought it might be worthwhile having a quick look at, right? And this, I'm not entirely certain what the organisation is, but you will see from this. You two lads should have it on Periscope now, and I'm leaning in to try and read it. This is an executive order kind of thing that has to be completed by the 31st of March 2017. The action is immediate action. I'm going to have to get really close. I'll do something. A number of incidents have been reported across the UK involving e-cigarettes that have exploded or ignited to cause a fire while recharging or in use as in an oxygen-rich environment. A number of different brands of e-cigarettes have been implicated within these incidents. Devices involved include reusable and disposable electronic cigarettes, cigars, pipes and similar battery-powered tobacco replacement products which use a heating element atomizer to produce a vapour which resembles smoke. Disposable e-cigarettes are not affected by the charging problem. The action to be taken is all staff should be made aware of the fire hazard associated with the use and recharging of e-cigarettes, and e-cigarette batteries should not be recharged or used in premises or vehicles. That's what it says on there. This is some official stuff that's gone out. Now, I have requested further information. I've alerted the New Nicotine Alliance to this, because if this starts spreading around the place, again, it's bloody stupid. I'm not seeing on that document any recommendation that anybody should stop using phones. A particular Android phone, shall we say. Right. You know, it's not being recommended. It's targeting batteries used for e-cigs, when those batteries are used in torches like this one. Whoops, that's a torch. That uses an 18650, and to prove it, I shall unscrew it and pull the battery out. And it's a torchy battery that's in there, by the way, just so everybody knows I'm being safe. So yes, this is ridiculous, and we need to be fighting it. So I've alerted the NNA about that. What do you make of that, Matt?
Again, as you say, mobile phones aren't mentioned, laptops aren't mentioned. Anything with a lithium-ion battery in it can potentially be a hazard. Well,
as Plop NL has just pointed out on the old scope of Perry, hospital laptops have got dirty great big banks of 18650s inside of them. And isn't it Hewlett Packard that have just recalled thousands and thousands of the bloody things because they're likely to...
Actually, as of last week, there was a notice went out. Certain models of HP Envy, which were released in the United States.
Yes. And Alan in Tadley says he wouldn't call normal air as oxygen rich at 21%. Neither would I. Neither would I. But there you go. So, yes, as I say, I've brought it to the NNA's attention, and we'll see if anything comes of that. It's ridiculous. You can tell we're in January, can't you?
Just about.
I think you need a holiday.
I do, you're right, I do. I need a holiday. I think... Oh, sorry, on Thursday I'm going away for a fortnight.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sorry, lads. And lasses, I'll leave you all to it, but I'm going away. I've had enough. I need a rest. I need to get away from everything, because January has been just incredibly bad as far as e-cigs are concerned. They've rolled all the shite out, as they always do. Oh, and as Plops just pointed out, there are 7,000 18650s in a Tesla.
God, you wouldn't want to get one of them, would you?
No.
Yeah, but there's 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds.
Is that in degrees or?
Well,
no.
The HP recall includes batteries shipped between March 2013 and October 2016. That's going to be an awful lot of laptops.
Mm.
And they're all a fire hazard.
Because
and all those batteries will be appearing on eBay soon.
Yes.
Some of those models of laptops, it's not just the Envy, there's a few others, are the low-end ones, you know, which are cheap, you know, probably $150 or so. They sell a lot of them.
Mm. Mm. Now, I've just been asked for a quick update on Keith. He's getting out and about. We went round to see him, Jill and I, the other day. His voice is getting better. He doesn't hear that it is, but it is. He's got that rasp back. You know, when he's feeling mischievous, that's starting to come back. He's got a glint in his eye. He's put a little bit of weight on. I think he put 4 pounds on, which is bloody good going.
I'll send him some if you want some.
Hey, listen, I'm a lot closer. It'd be much easier if I could do it, Marco. It really would. The recovery time for what he's been through is going to be 12 to 18 months. It's going to be a while before he's back to his fighting height and weight, if you like, before he's back on his feet properly and 100%. It's going to be 12 to 18 months, but he's on the road. He's on the right road. There's still little bits and bobs have got to be done, but he's on the right road. We're passed on everybody's well wishes, and it brought a tear to his eye. He still has difficulty believing. Stop that, it tickles. He still has difficulty believing that so many people are so fond of him, because it's not something he's ever experienced before, really. But he's finally come to that realization, and he's feeling very, everybody says humbled, But what they really mean is there's this little pride inside that he's not going to show. So all of your good wishes, all of your well wishes and all your thoughts and prayers have buoyed him up a lot. And thank you to everybody for that.
A little thing where we used to have a chat after, when we still do, after the show's finished and when we're off air. And when Keith was sitting there, we would try and get Keith to agree to come along to Vapor Expo or Vape Fest or whatever, because there's a lot of you guys that would love to meet him, and he just cannot get his head around that at all. He just doesn't see it, does he?
No. He's got absolutely no notion. He's such a self-effacing bloke, and so innately modest that he can't believe that, you know, so many people A, know him, and B, want to meet him. He can't say that for himself, but I think he's got a bit better idea now, because we showed him some of the messages and told him what people had said, and he, like I say, there was a tear in his eye and a lump in his throat. Miles has met him, yes, and he was delighted to meet him once. He's a lovely fella, he really is. So that's kind of the good news for the night. He's on the up, he's on the mend, and he's going to get there. He is going to get there. We'll make sure of that. Even if it means 14 rice puddings a day and 2 ice creams. It's amazing where you can put that protein powder. Your wife would like.
Wrap it up, boys.
Yes. Let's do that.
Reckon.
Yes. So I'll not be here for the next 2 Mondays at least, and possibly the Monday after that, because the Monday. What?
3 weeks, part timer.
Excuse me.
You know what? I think I might have a couple of weeks off as well. Mark, you're only run.
I'll have you know, I don't think I've missed a show in however many years it is, other than being on holiday. And even then I've chimed in.
6 weeks.
Yeah, well, you know, if you're going to have a holiday, have one.
9 months in New Zealand.
Now, when I get back, I start on an intensive course for my Mod 2 test for my motorbike. So that'll be the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the test on the Thursday. So it might. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I should be all right for the Monday night, but you just don't know. Anyway, go on, Mark. Oh, you've got the screen. Wrap it up. You can practice for next week.
Well, you'll see us next week. You won't see Dave Dawn for a couple of weeks, but you'll see Matt and myself. We'll be here with all sorts of stuff. And next week's show, as I said last week, is next week.
Hey, we've got all sorts of stuff. What the hell are we doing?
I'll let you know on Monday night about 7 o'clock.
Okay, I should await the spreadsheet.
No spreadsheet. We don't do the spreadsheet anymore.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't do the trailer either. We just kind of, go for it. So
right,
I'll do a bit.
If you want to tune in next Monday and see 2 blokes in beards sitting there, go.
we'll have some merriment. We'll see what's happening in the Twitter sphere and Facebook and news and all that kind of stuff that we can sit and rant about. A couple of bits of ET that I promised you, which will happen. And if you're in chat, Jason has just put all the different HP ProBook information in there. I'm just checking oh no, it's not there. My HP laptop, which is my work one. It's in my laptop.
It's making noise.
Yes, so we'll see you next week. Yeah, Matt.
Bye.
Dave.
Bye.
See you soon, peoples.
I'll be brown when I see you. Bye bye.